welcome back. This is the second video in my HTML and CSS tutorial series. If you have not seen the first video, it sets up the basic part of this page and just talks about some of the basics of HTML and CSS. So I will link that video below. I suggest you watch that video first or you will be very confused. So today we are going to do the content, so all of the middle of this page. So we're going to start off with the index.html file from last time and the style.css. That should be inside of your folder. So the first thing we're going to do is set up this banner image. Okay, so we're going to do a div again, and this is going to be ID banner. And then we're going to do an image tag. And then again, inside the image folder, we're going to link to this specific image. And then we're going to give this image a class of banner image. Close this, and then close the div. Okay. So as you can see, that is not right, but we have our image. So we're going to go over to our CSS file, and we are going to reference our banner, which is the div around the picture. And all we're going to do in here is give this a background color, and this is going to be that brownish color that's going to be on the rest of the page, just under the picture. Okay. So then we are going to reference the banner image, which is the actual picture. And for this, we're going to give this a width of 100%. Now you could do a pixels, but then it wouldn't change with your screen size. Giving it a width of 100% is setting it to the size of the div that it's inside of. So that way, this will automatically grow with this. Okay, so now if we have the banner, what we're going to do is these two pictures right here. So we're going to go back to this, and we're going to do a div with an ID of photos. Whoa. Okay. And close. Then what we're going to do is do another image tag. I'm just going to copy this one just to make it faster. And this is called Saint Lucia. And we're going to give this a class of Saint Lucia. Okay. I'm just going to refresh, make sure that's appearing. Yes, okay, clearly not what it's going to look like in a moment. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put a paragraph tag up here. As I said before, the paragraph tags automatically will put the next thing to the next line. So that way the image will be under our text. And so we're just going to add some text in here. Man. Okay, I'm not going to do anything else to that text. The only thing that's changing with that text is the Arial, which is set in the wrap. So refresh, and we have our words. So the next thing I'm going to do is we're going to add a div around this specific area, and we're going to call that div class box. So this is inside of the photos div. We're going to have another div that has the picture and the words in it. Okay, so nothing's going to change visually, but then what we're going to do is we're going to copy this. So we're going to have 2. Now we're just going to change this image name to Punta Cana. Same for the class. And then change our words. Okay, so now we have everything in a row because there's no styling on this, so it's just going to be in line like that. Then we're going to go over to our CSS file. Okay, so then we're going to reference the photo sieve, which is the container around both of those images. And we're going to give this a background color, the same, well, I'll just copy this, the same exact color as, behind the banner image. Okay, and then we're going to, well, I'll do that in a moment. Okay, so next we're going to do box, which is the class on both of these 2 boxes. So they both have the same exact class, so we're going to give them the same exact styles. And we're going to give them each a width of 48%. And this way we can float them. And so we're going to do float left. And, okay, so we have this right now. And one thing I'm going to do first, just so we can see these pictures better, is we're going to reference the St. Lucia and Punta Cana classes. And you can do those in the same thing if you just put a comma in between. And all we're going to do with this is the same as we did for the banner, and set this to 100% of the div. So that changes the size of that. Okay, so this is a weird scenario. Remember, we had to do this with the floating of the nav, because technically when you do float, it erases the parent tag, and so it no longer registers the background color. And so you do the same thing as we did before, and you're going to do overflow hidden, and then that will make the background go to the proper color. And okay, so next we're going to give these boxes a padding of 1%. And you could do pixels, but then this will adjust based off of screen size, so that's a better way to go. And then I'm lastly going to do text align center. Now this doesn't necessarily align the box, it aligns the pictures. So as you can see, those kind of change with size. Alright, so something that we have to add in, which is kind of strange. When you do floating, sometimes once you place another div down here, it will automatically float up next to it. And I sometimes can avoid this by doing this wrapper div around these 2 boxes. But if I didn't have that and then I put something else below, it would automatically float left next to this picture. So what you do is you put a div underneath and you clear everything essentially. So you're going to do div class equals clear and close that and just put nothing in it, and that's all it's going to be. But this will ensure, it essentially resets the page and ensure nothing else is floating up next to these on either side, and it just kind of creates a clean slate. So what you're going to do is you're going to call this clear class, and what we're going to do is clear both. And again, this just ensures that nothing floats up next to either of these photos. So you won't really notice the difference right now, but if you do forget that, or if you do not do a wrapper div, sometimes things get messy. And so anytime you have a section of floating boxes or whatever, make sure you do clear after each one. So next we're going to do these 3 things down below, and essentially it's going to be the same exact thing as the last one. It's just going to have one additional box. So underneath my clear div, okay, we're going to do div with the ID of content. And so just to make this easier, I'm going to copy one of these and stick it inside. And we're going to have this as box 2 because we're going to do a little bit different than the original box. And instead of the image below, we're going to do the image on top this time. And I'm not going to bother doing a class on these because I'm not really changing anything. The image is already how I want it. So the first one is pencil. And it's a PNG file. And then we're going to put our text here. Contact us today to book your next tropical vacation. Okay. So you'll see that is there. And we're just going to copy this section and just duplicate it. So as you can see, they all are in a row right now, and we're just going to change these a little bit. So we have that, and then essentially we're going to do the same thing, just a slightly different measurements. So as you can see, this was 48 because we were doing half of the page about, and you need to leave room for the padding on either side. So I'm just going to copy this, and instead of and change this to 2, and instead of 48 we're going to do 31 actually, and then we're going to give this padding of 1% also, and we're continuing to do float left and text align center. And then we're going to do the content, and we're going to do the exact same thing as the photos. So I'm just going to copy that, and then we pretty much have our web page. So it will change based off of your screen size on a desktop. Right now it doesn't really work quite so well for mobile. It will work about to here, and then as you can see, everything gets screwed up. Later on I'm going to show you kind of how to fix that and adjust it for mobile with using media queries. That's kind of the main way to make things go mobile, and what those are going to do is at a certain width of the screen we can kind of change the layout with CSS a bit, which will make it look a little bit better on mobile. Yes, next time we're going to do media queries, and then also at some point I'm going to do drop down menus for this and maybe make these more into a button shape. And then we're just going to continue on with this, doing the various pages that are going to come up, and then eventually maybe adding some basic JavaScript in this page. So I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions, leave them down below, and keep an eye out for the next video where we'll be making this page look better on mobile.